All right. So this will kind of be a usual episode. I'll call this, what you guys are kind of used to because I had a different format last time. So, I want to I want to talk about New Hampshire. Um, that was okay. Let me say this. For Biden and Warren, here's what I think is going to happen. Warren is going to drop out before Biden. That's what I think is going to happen. I believe Warren's going to be next. The only thing that's keeping Biden in is his pride. That's the only thing. Joe Biden has run 5 times, I believe. I believe this is his 5th time running for president. That's horrible. I mean, how many times do you have to be rejected to realize they don't want you? Like, I look at it this way. Let's say there's this girl that I have a crush on. And for years, I try to get at her. I'll give her a name, and this is just a made up name off the top of my head. Megan, okay? Let's say I go to Megan, and let's say I met her in kindergarten. Okay, kind of right at the beginning of my educational career. Okay, you're pretty young, you're pretty young in kindergarten. Let's say I begin to have feelings for her. We'll say middle school. So I'll say 7th grade. Kind of right in the middle. Your interest in girls is like really picking up. Like it kind of starts in the 5th grade. That's when it started for me. But say 7th grade, I just look at her one day and I'm like, wow, she's really cute. And we have a really good relationship and I really like her. Let's say I tell her that I like her. And she says, well, I mean that, I'm very flattered, but, I don't feel the same way about you. It hurts. It hurts to be rejected, but it's like, you know what, okay, life goes on. And let's say I do it again 4 years later. I keep trying to make my pitch, okay? So now I do it 4 years later in our junior year of high school. That now puts me at like 17 years old. So I say, Megan, I know I've told you this before, but I still really like you. And I think, we have a really great relationship. We're great friends. We know a lot about each other. And again, I get rejected. And I do it again 4 years later, and I get the same results. And I do it again 4 years later. So now, instead of being 17, I'm 8 years older, and I'm 25. And then I do it again, and I'm 29. The point is, I keep getting rejected. I need to face the fact this girl doesn't like me. She doesn't see me the way I see her. Joe Biden sees himself as the guy who should be president of the United States. Everybody else doesn't see that. They say, Joe, okay, you're kind of cool, you're kind of weird, you're kind of creepy, but whatever. We don't think you should be in the White House. He's run multiple times. He doesn't get it. I know his wife is sick of him. I can't imagine what Jill thinks. She's probably like, here we go again. This is what he wants to do. He thinks this is his calling in life. He thinks this is what he's supposed to do, and he thinks he can do it. Joe Biden, you can't do it. You can't do it. You need to understand. There's a phrase called read the room. Just look around you, notice the situation, see what's going on around you, and then proceed to act. Joe Biden was President Barack Obama's vice president. And so he said, okay, you know what? We exited in 2016. We finished. We did our 2 terms. Let me take a little bit of a vacation. 8 years is exhausting of being in the White House. Even if I'm not the main guy, being vice president is, that's an exhausting job. So I say, okay, you know what? Let's just do that. I come back in 2016 and I say, you know what? It's my time. And I lose. It's just, excuse me, not 2016, but you come back here and you say, okay, you know what? It's, time. Like, let me do this. Let me try to be president. Joe, you're not getting it. You're not reading the room correctly. And as I said earlier, the only thing that's keeping him in the race is his pride. I don't know what it's going to take for him. I don't know what it's going to take for him to get it. What would it take for me to, realize that Megan does not reciprocate my feelings? When is that going to happen? When is that going to happen? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so, he doesn't get it. Now, Elizabeth Warren, I don't have faith in her. She finished 4th. I think she finished 4th. She finished above Biden. Because I think she was at like 9.8%. But the shock of the night was Klobuchar. She is really hanging in there. And here's what I think. I don't think Amy Klobuchar is going to win. But here's what I do believe. If whichever Democrat wins, okay, take either Kamala Harris or Amy Klobuchar and make them your running mate. That's what I would do. That would be that would probably be the best move for the Democrats. Because if I'm just looking at the landscape, okay, take Pete for example. Pete is not getting the black vote. He's just not going to get it. Not him alone. So his best move would be to get Kamala Harris, to get the black vote and the women vote. Or you can try to use Cory Booker. I personally would advise Pete to not have a running mate that's taller than him, because that would just be embarrassing to, visually, But if I'm Pete Buttigieg, Pete's going to be in the end. He has greatly surprised me. Like, I didn't think he'd make it this far. Andrew Yang, he dropped out yesterday. I look at it this way. If I were going to vote for a Democrat, I would probably vote for Yang. I'm not big on the universal basic income. I'm not big on handouts. I don't like him. I understand that he's trying to close the wealth inequality, income inequality. He's trying to close that gap, and I appreciate that he's trying, but I just don't believe that universal basic income and just handing people over 18 $1,000 is the way to do it. So I knew he wasn't going to make it that far, but Pete's hanging in there. I believe it's going to come down between Sanders and Pete. It's gonna be Pete and Bernie. That's who I think it's gonna come down to. Now I'm gonna go to the comment that Warren made about what I don't know if you guys remember at a previous debate, like just before the debate, Warren came out and said that Bernie Sanders said that a woman would never win. Now, we don't know if he said it. We don't know if he did say it. We don't know. We were not there. But I will say this. I don't believe a woman is going to win this year. I could very easily see. Well, let me clear this up. You guys know that I think Donald Trump is going to win, and I think he's going to win big. The Democrats have just been shooting themselves up. They've been shooting themselves, in the feet, the hand. I mean, they're killing themselves. So I think Trump is going to win, and I think he's going to win big. And I'm going to be honest. Overall, these Democrats, they blow. They're just bad. I mean, none of them can beat Donald Trump. None of them. And so when I say I could easily see a female vice president, when I say that, I mean I could see a female vice president as a running mate. I don't believe the Democrats are going to win. I don't. But Amy Klobuchar, she is really hanging in there. She's a great moderate. And I think if I didn't vote for Yang, I might vote for Klobuchar if I were a Democrat. So that's kind of the big thing. But the big takeaway is Joe Biden and Warren are done. They're done. Joe is, and I'm not going to talk about the comment that Joe made the other day, because I don't even know what to make it. A lying, dog-faced pony soldier. Now, no one knows what that is. We know that. We've learned a new term. It's probably currently it's phrase of the year. But we don't, no one knows what that is. So, it's just been this time has been an interesting thing to watch. But overall, I'm not really invested in this election because I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote. I will always vote as long as I am able. I will always do that. But the Democrats blow. They blow. They are not good this time around. And I honestly believe and here's the thing. Here's why I say that. None of these Democrats are really way out ahead. That's not happening. It's just it's truly incredible. It is truly incredible, and I don't know how this is. I don't know who's going to win the nomination. But it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for the first presidential debate. Trump is extremely entertaining to me. He's going to come up with a bunch of nicknames. Just maybe off the fly. He already has Little Pete, Sleepy Joe, Pocahontas for Elizabeth Warren. It's just interesting. And I said this in an earlier episode. Democrats have to stop talking about Donald Trump. Stop doing it, because here's what you do. And here's what the Democrats are doing. Here's the good thing that they are doing. They're uniting. They're saying who, and Pete said it in his somewhat victory statement last night. Vote for blue no matter who. That's pretty much what the Democrats are together on. And I think for the Democratic Party, in a way it's good, but in a way it's bad, because if it's Sanders, that's saying, okay, vote socialist, vote for a socialist, because anyone is better than Donald Trump. So I think that can be dangerous. But it is a good thing that they are united. A house divided against itself can't stand. It can't. That's biblical. King Solomon said it. Jesus said it. Abraham Lincoln said it. 3 incredibly great men. So, that's a good thing that Democrats are doing. That's what we have to look at. It's just not good. This is just not good, because here's the thing. Democrats have to come back towards the middle. Here's kind of the good thing. Bernie is old. Bernie, I want to say, is 78, and I'm saying that off the top of my head. I don't know exactly, but I believe he's 78, so he's old. I'm not wishing death upon him. I'm just being realistic here. He doesn't have much longer by life expectancy, standards. So that's huge. So his political career is going to end, and that's really it. I don't know what they're going to do. The Democrats have, if they want a chance for the future, they need to come back. They need to come back towards the middle. They need to become more moderate. They have to, because what they're doing now and what their belief, Democrats just are making themselves look good. Because here's the thing, between Bernie and Pete, and I'm spending quite a bit of time on this, between Bernie and Pete, I think Bernie would edge Pete out. That's just my gut telling me that. I haven't looked at numbers or anything like that concerning those two in that prediction, but that's just my gut talking. Okay. If you are saying, now I don't know if you guys remember this, but in the mid 80s, Bernie talked about bread lines and how they're a good thing. And the way he kind of said that was, okay, there are some countries where, only the rich eat, and I'm paraphrasing here, only the rich eat and the poor starve to death. So that's how we try to make bread lines look. Now, bread lines are better than nothing. I will say that, because they are. Some food is better than no food. For sure. So, you can't. Here's what we have to remember. Socialism is responsible for the death of millions. Democrats, if you're smart, don't vote for Sanders. You would be voting for a person who praised Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro. You just, his ideas aren't going to happen. Okay? No one's going to, free college for everyone is never, ever going to be a thing. And you wouldn't want it to be a thing. You just wouldn't. Do you know how high your taxes would be? And here's what people are thinking. Oh, but he's going to tax the rich. You know what the rich are going to do? They're going to lay people off. The economy is going to become more stagnant. And then you hit, a recession. Unemployment's going to go up because the rich are going to say, okay, you want it. So my money's not going to go to employees. So the government's going to take my money. Okay, well, that's less money that I'm going to give to my employees. And so, I'm just going to do a bunch of layoffs. If you are a Sanders supporter, have you just sat down and thought about what he's saying? Here's the reason I believe Sanders has a bunch of support. Sanders is just saying a handout. Here's a handout. Everyone gets a handout. And that's dangerous. I think ultimately that's just what people want. They want as much as they want to get as much as they can, as quickly as they can get it, with as little effort as it takes to get it. That's what people want. So I'm looking at this whole thing, and I'm just saying, Democrats, don't vote for Sanders. If anything, you gotta stop focusing on Trump. You're saying we just need someone to beat Trump. No, that's not it. Now listen, I'm a Republican. You guys are shooting yourselves in the foot. I'm giving out a helpful hand. This is free advice from a Republican who is going to vote for Trump. Don't vote for Sanders. Get behind Pete. Don't stop focusing on Trump. At worst, you only have 4 more years of Trump. Trump is eventually going to get out. Trump is not a dictator. He can't stay in. Even if he wants to, he can't. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. So even if he wins, he gets out in 2024. Okay? Trump will never be able to be president again. So someone else will come in and say, okay, let me try. Stop focusing on Trump. So don't just vote for someone who can beat Donald Trump. Put your support behind someone who holds your best interests and can carry you into the future. Bernie Sanders cannot carry you into the future. He can barely carry himself into the future. He's 78. He's old. He's tired. He already had a heart attack on the campaign trail. Campaigning is unbelievably exhausting. I don't know how these candidates do it. I honestly believe they're on drugs. I can't see any other, unless you have the power, unless you have the Holy Spirit and God just gives you strength and you just pray for that. The only other way I can see this is if you do drugs. That's how I think they're making it. That's what you have to do. Don't be stupid. Don't put your support behind Bernie. He's just old. He looks frail. Like my mom says it all the time. She's like, he's just not going to make it. She doesn't think he'll finish a term. And if you look at him, if you were to look at Bernie Sanders, and I know you're saying, oh my God, you're judging people by their looks. We all do it. It's a natural thing to do. But if you were to look at Bernie Sanders and you didn't know who he was, you would think, okay, that guy is really old. He doesn't look too healthy. His hair makes him look kind of crazy. Yeah, that's what you would think. Okay, but here's what I'm saying. For Democrats, stop focusing on Trump. Stop talking about him. Stop saying how evil he is. He's gonna get out. He only has 4 more years at best. Put your support behind someone who can carry you now in 2020. And if he or she loses, they can carry you into the future and have a shot of being in power and getting the White House. I'm done. I've spent a lot of time on this, way more than I wanted to. But Democrats, I'm trying to help you. Seriously. I mean, it's like the Democrats are like, the party is a joke. All these disasters these past 4 years. You're not helping yourself by just saying anyone is better than Trump. That's not true. I'll take Trump over a socialist any day. Okay, so I want to get into this Ohio State football thing. Yes, that's good hydration. Okay. So there were 2 Ohio State football players who were suspended following rape and kidnapping charges. I'm going to read this. This is from Fox News. 2 Ohio State football players were arrested Wednesday and accused in the rape and kidnapping of a woman earlier this month at their shared Ohio apartment. Jason Wynn and Amir Reap, I think that's how you pronounce it, both 21, are facing 2 felony counts of rape and kidnapping. Columbus police allege that the pair forced a woman to falsely admit on video that she engaged in consensual sex after being assaulted by the 2 men on February 4th, which is last Monday. The alleged victim, who has not been identified, moved away from Reap and told him that she no longer wished to continue, and it was at this point when Went entered the room and asked if he could join. According to the affidavit, Went grabbed the woman by her neck, held her down, and raped her. Reap then allegedly grabbed the victim and held her down with his body while Went forced oral sex. Following the alleged assault, police said that Reap recorded the woman, who tearfully asked if he wanted her face on the video, to which he just told her no, just say it was consensual. He could repeatedly be heard laughing at the victim on video. Reap instructed the woman to shower before driving her home, the Dispatch reported. Ohio State spokesman Ben Johnson said in a statement to the Associated Press that the school is aware, in quotes, of the arrests. They have been suspended from all activities involving the football program. We will share information when available. Reap is a 6'1", 185-pound cornerback entering his senior season for Ohio State's top 5 football program, while Went, 6', 198-pound redshirt senior safety, according to court documents in the university's athletics website. Went and Reap are being held in the Franklin County Municipal Jail without bond, online records indicated. Their next court appearance will be on Thursday. All right, so you guys know that I have a history of talking about rape cases on this podcast, and I find them to be interesting. And you know, rape, I'm not necessarily going to talk about this case specifically, but just in general, and this may be kind of repetitive, but here's the way I see it. It's not good for a society to just go off allegations. If someone, and I say this all the time, if someone accused you of doing something that you didn't do, the first thing you would say is, I didn't do it. Or you would say, do you have proof? Or you would say, can you prove it? Or you would call the person a liar. Or you would do one of those things or any variation of those things, those words. I have an issue when we talk about rape, and we have this perspective where if you defend the alleged rapist and just ask for evidence, it's believed that you're a rape apologist, which is just absurd. No one likes rape, except people who rape. I can't remember which woman it is, but one of the women who's accused Harvey Weinstein of rape, it's interesting. She talked about how she didn't, how, it was a horrible experience and stuff like that. And she said that he forced his way into her room, held her against the wall, hands above her head, kissing her and, doing sexual things to her. She did not report the crime because she said she didn't know if it was rape. When you have a situation like that and you hear something like that, it's like, okay, there seems to be something off with that. But the way we see rape in this society and the way we view it and the way we handle it really it's not the best way. The defenders, the defense attorneys for Weinstein asked her, why didn't you tell the police? And she said something like, I didn't think it was rape, or I didn't really know what it was. And she was testifying that she was hitting, punching, and kicking Harvey Weinstein while this was happening. There is no enjoyable sex where you are punching, kicking, and hitting the other person. Those are defensive moves. And when you have things like that, it's like when you hear a defense like that, it's like you gotta be kidding me. And she didn't go to the police right away. I mean, it's horrible. And I've said this before. If a crime happens, yes, you may be ashamed. I get it. I can't imagine the emotional trauma. I can't imagine it. But you have to go to the police. You have to report these things. I've said it before. If someone breaks into let's say someone steals your car. Let's say you go into the grocery store to get milk, eggs, and bread. You go in, you're in there for like 7 minutes, you come out, your car's gone. Let's say this happened on today, February 12th, 2020. You would not wait until April Fool's Day to go in and report it missing. You don't wait to report a crime. You go into the police station and you say, excuse me, I'd like to report a crime. They say, oh, okay, tell us what happened. Give us your name, your address, and your phone number so we can contact you. And then, tell me what happened. Well, my car was stolen. Oh, okay. When did this happen? Oh, this happened February 12th. They would look up at you and say, excuse me? Yeah, this happened February 12th. They would look at me and say, Mr. Green, it's April. Why are you just not reporting this? We have to conduct ourselves differently concerning rape. We have to, when someone is accused of rape, we can't just assume they did it or that they didn't do it. We have to be neutral. We don't know. That's the hard thing about these cases. No one likes talking about this stuff. But it's like, okay, how do we do this? How do we talk about these things? These crimes happen where it's just two people, the alleged rapist and the alleged victim. They say, this person did this. The other person says, no, I didn't. Or they say, yeah, there was sex, but it was consensual. We have two opposing stories. And the best way to go about it is just go by evidence. Go by actual evidence. I'm not one of those people who just because they hear the word, they just see someone and they say, oh, this person is a rapist, and it's just, right now it's just an allegation. I don't go for that. I wait. Present some evidence. Show that they did it. And it's just, it's just ridiculous how we just look and view rape and handle these cases. I don't like the idea that a victim can name she's able to name the alleged perpetrators, but they can hide their identity. That's ridiculous. I believe if someone commits a crime and you name names, I believe you should have to name your name. I believe you should have to identify yourself. Because the thing with rape is, if your name is just tied to the word rapist, if it was ever believed, it's like, the whole thing was a lie, everything was proven to be false, it was proven that there was no way it was me that did this crime, or that the crime didn't even happen, just your name being tied to the word rapist, your life is changed negatively forever. Good jobs are almost impossible to come by. It's hard to date because people now Google who they're dating and they say, why were you accused of being a rapist? Well, it didn't happen. It was just this horrible thing where she accused me and it didn't happen. We have these. It's just not good. People's lives. It's like, what can they do? But I believe unless you protect the identity of all people involved, I believe you should deal in, and I don't really like dealing in absolutes. I hate doing it, but I look at it and there are a few things where I am okay with dealing with absolutes. And I think here it's like, okay, either everyone remains anonymous or everyone is identified. That's how I think we should go about these things. But we just, the way we look at rape, we have to analyze it. And you have to see that it's not working. The whole Me Too thing, I thought it started good. I really thought it did, People want to see rapists put away. No one likes these people. No one supports these people. So that's what we have to look at. We have to come together and just say, okay, what works, what doesn't, and then go from there. Me Too started great, and then here's the thing, when something becomes a hashtag or a trend, it usually goes sideways. Once it became hashtag Me Too, it was over. Because then people can just come out and say, oh yeah, this happened to me, 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 this happened to me. Where are you people coming from? Who are you people? People accusing, celebrities and people with, powerful people. It's like, okay, who are you? This woman who's accusing Donald Trump, E. Jean Carroll, I think that's her name. Her evidence against Donald Trump was that there was male sperm. I think it was male semen found in the underwear. This lady has no proof. It's like you just come up with these stories. They may be true, they may not be. But it's like, how can we just verify these things? We have to have a better system. We have to have a better way of conducting investigations. And us, the public, we need to stop just jumping to conclusions. Oh, there's an alleged rapist. Oh, they did it. We have to, it's hard. It's hard because the thing is, no one likes rapists. So you hear the word rapist, you hear a name, you see a face. Our brains tell us, don't like that guy. Don't like that person. But that is not how we should do it. We have to say, okay, hold on. Let's see what happens. Let's see the evidence. Let's see the truth. Let it be revealed. We need to hold off on judgment. Just because we hear a story, or just because we see a woman crying and just saying that this happened, we can't let our emotions rule us. That's dangerous in this, and that's dangerous throughout life. Never make a decision when you're emotional. I've done it, and most of the times, probably 85 to 90% of the time, I regret my decisions that I make when I'm emotional. Be rational, be logical, sit down, just step back, and then proceed. Never make a promise when you're happy. Never make a decision when you're angry. You should be in a neutral state when you make a decision. Whatever that decision is, spending money, going somewhere, being with a person, having sex with a person. Just because you're feeling horny doesn't mean you should go have sex with that individual. Just because you think she's really fine doesn't mean you should take her back to your place. Just relax. And then proceed. Okay, so let's get to this Jussie Smollett thing. I told you guys that I wasn't going to let this go. This Jussie Smollett thing it's back on. He has now been indicted on 6 counts. The case is back on. I love this. I love this. This is beautiful to me. He's not going to get away with this. And what's amazing is that he knows, he has to know that we all know he's lying. I'm going to say this. If you still believe Jussie Smollett, or some of you may know him, Juicy Smollett, if you know him, if you've heard his story and seen the evidence, and you still believe him, you are not either I don't know what to say about you, but I would just say that you are not a rational and logical person. You can't, it's not possible to believe this guy. He knew his attackers. He paid his attackers. He sent, and it's been proven, he sent a fake threat to himself through the United States Postal Service, which is a crime. This victimhood, man. I just wrote about this on, and I talked about black victimhood, but just the victimhood mentality overall is ridiculous. This man just wanted attention, and he wanted more money, and he wanted pity. I'm going to say this. Pity is very underrated. Time to hydrate. Yes. But victimhood is not a good thing. It's a bad mentality to have. So, anyway, the case is back on. This is from Fox 32 Chicago. In a story Fox 32 knows broke first, former Empire actor Jussie Smollett was indicted Tuesday in Chicago by Special Prosecutor Dan Webb, stemming from the alleged racist and anti-gay attack on him that occurred in January of 2019. Smollett is due in court February 24th at the Criminal Court Building at 26th in California. Webb said in a statement that Smollett faces six felony counts of disorderly conduct, charges that stem from 4 separate false reports that he gave to police in which he contended he was a victim of a hate crime, knowing that he was not the victim of a hate crime. Listen, this guy, no. He is, listen, I remember at one time he was facing up to 64 years in prison, according to one report. 64 years. And I'm adamant about this. At the very least, he must pay back all the money that was spent on that investigation. There was a lot of overtime put in. There was a lot of resources put in. People on the department were pulled off of other cases, real cases, to investigate this fake one. He should be ordered to pay back the money and apologize on national TV. Apologize to the city of, apologize to the police, apologize to the city, and apologize to the nation for lying and acting like a victim when he wasn't. That should happen at the very least. Anything less than that is unsatisfactory. Is, I should say, extremely unsatisfactory. And he needs to be put in prison. If I did what he did, I would get jail time. Because he's a celebrity, Chicago said, okay, we can't mess this up. We got to get it right. We need to find out who did this to Jussie. They start, and immediately things begin to look fishy. They keep investigating. All fingers and all evidence point back to Jussie Smollett. Yes, sir. You faked this. You faked this. And it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. I'm telling you, I don't care how long this thing goes for. He needs to be punished. It's just ridiculous. I hate victimhood. I can't stand it. I used to have the mentality for years. All my problems I blamed on other people. It doesn't help anything. You don't progress. You don't get better. When you hold on to victimhood and when you hold on to this belief that everything that's going wrong in your life is someone else's fault. Oppression, racism, discrimination. When you just blame everyone else for your problems, bad luck. No. Ask yourself, did I do everything I can possibly do to get the best results? Did I put forth my best effort? Usually the answer is no. I'm telling you, if you just start taking responsibility for your actions, and I found this to be true in my life. When I take responsibility for my actions and my outcomes, good and bad, your life becomes a lot better. You feel better about yourself. It's ridiculous. People take credit for the good that happens to them, but they blame everyone else for the bad that happens. It's absolutely ridiculous. But Jussie Smollett needs to be brought to justice. And I don't care how long this takes. He is not a victim. I'm going to say this. If you believe his story, reach out to me and explain to me your logic. Explain to me why his story is true. And if you convince me, I will come on the podcast and I will invite you onto the podcast, whether through phone or Skype or whatever. And I will tell you, all right, you convinced me that he's correct. Just there's no rational person who can believe that this person did it, or that Jussie Smollett is telling the truth. Everything points back to him. Again, he knew his attackers. He paid his attackers. He said that they were white guys when these dudes were so dark. I mean, they were darker than me. And it's just like, that's all I'm gonna say. But seriously, if you believe, and I'm really being, you may think it's funny, but it's not. If you actually genuinely believe he's telling the truth, and you look at the evidence and you still come to that conclusion, you need to take a class on being rational. You need to take a class on logic. You need to take a class on, I don't even know. But you seriously just, you just are not a rational person. If there were an interview, if there were a job interview that I was having, one of the questions I would ask was, is Jussie Smollett, did he lie or is he telling the truth? Anyone who answers he's telling the truth is immediately eliminated from the process. This person's not getting the job, because I just know this person is stupid. They're just stupid. But anyway, this was a fun episode. He needs to be brought to justice. It's been a year, and it's been absolutely outrageous. And what's even more infuriating? I thought I was done, but I'm not. What's even more infuriating is the fact that he was doing his thing. This whole process came out. It was shown, okay, you lied, and give us our money, and you're gonna go to jail. No, just that. No, they didn't even say give us our money back. They just said, okay, you're going to jail. Out of nowhere, the charges get dropped. That's what makes it so infuriating. It's that out of nowhere, Kim Fox and company come out and say, oh, you know what? Let's just sweep this under the rug and nothing happened here. We don't know what happened. I don't understand. That's what makes it so infuriating. Like, the charges were just dropped. And it was disgusting. That's why I'm so passionate about this. If this were just a long, drawn out thing, I'd be irritated, but not like this. Jussie Smollett needs to be brought to justice. And everyone else that was involved in the cover-up, they need to be brought to justice as well.